This small ghost town settlement has a wild history where innovation, hospitality, and tragedy unfolded. We'll show you this one-of-a-kind place right here on Ghost Towns and More. Way up in the far northeastern corner of Utah, along the banks of the Green River, lies the site where one family set out to live their dream. The story begins with John Jarvie, born in Scotland in 1844. He worked in the coal mines as a youth, but after suffering intolerable abuse from his employer, he'd had enough. Fleeing his homeland, he stowed away on a ship bound for America, arriving in 1870. Eventually, he made his way to Rock Springs, Wyoming, where he opened up his own saloon. When John was 36, he met and married Nellie Barr, also a Scottish native, on June 17, 1880. The newlyweds set out on a bold venture in an area called Browns Park in northeastern Utah. There they built a humble two-room dugout next to the Green River, which served as their temporary home while they constructed a house and other buildings. This site would later become known as the John Jarvie Ranch. He built a general store, a post office, and even operated a river ferry. John was perfectly suited to this new frontier. His ingenuity led him to build a large water wheel that scooped water from the Green River, supplying the ranch with irrigation. His blacksmithing skills enabled him to create tools and perform repairs for others in the area. John and Nellie had 4 sons over the years, and their warm hospitality became widely known throughout the region. Travelers passing through the remote area often relied on the Jarvies for rest and supplies. Even outlaws hiding from the law found refuge at the Jarvie Ranch. John didn't care about a person's past. He was known as a friend to everyone. One Thanksgiving, he even hosted a dinner where several notable outlaws were present at the table. John once hired a former prison inmate, Jack Bennett, to construct a stone building at the ranch, a skill Jack had learned during his time in prison. That building still stands today. One of the hardest events in John's life came when his beloved wife Nellie contracted tuberculosis and passed away in 1895. John was left to raise their 4 sons alone. Several years later, on a fateful day in 1909, John was alone in his store when 2 men arrived. It was July 6th. True to his character, John greeted them warmly and invited them to dinner. Plates were set and preparations were underway when the men revealed their true intent: to rob him. The 2 men, William King and George Hood, forced John to open his safe. They took a $100 bill and a pistol. Fearing for his life, John made a run for it. He made it as far as a small bridge just several feet from the store when they shot him in the back, mercilessly ending his life. To get rid of the body, the killers dragged John's body to the riverbank, placed him in a small boat, and pushed it into the current. They then ransacked the store and house, taking what they could before fleeing the scene. The next day, one of John's sons discovered the horrific aftermath. He tried to track the killers. 8 days later, John's deteriorated body and the boat were discovered several miles downstream. News of the brutal murder spread quickly, and a manhunt was on. A report surfaced of 2 men in Rock Springs trying to break a $100 bill. John's son Jimmy set out in pursuit, determined to avenge his father's death. He tracked the men to an inn in Idaho, but when he confronted them, they overpowered him and threw him from a second-story balcony. He fell to his death, and the killers were never apprehended. Decades later, the John Jarvie Ranch has been carefully preserved, much of it as it originally was. Today, visitors can tour the buildings and see many of the items John Jarvie built and used. A modern visitor center now welcomes guests, and a small cemetery lies just across the road. The historic John Jarvie Ranch is a fascinating place to explore, with stunning views as you descend into Browns Park. There are a couple of nearby campgrounds, and with easy river access, you can raft from Flaming Gorge Dam all the way to the Jarvie site. The area is as beautiful as it is historic. You'll definitely want to make this part of your spring and fall travel plans.